calls it the law of trust. I call it having currency in the bank of goodwill. We'll tie all those things together after we talk about what trust is. Trust is the ability to lead. Without it, you do not have the ability to lead. It's the foundational element of your ability to lead. It's just got to be there. So how do we develop trust? John Maxwell would argue that we develop trust based on our internal character. I think it's a little bit more external. I think it's what we show of our internal character to the rest of the world. How we demonstrate that we are of good character, our good deeds. People love to hear that I've run a couple nonprofit organizations. I've been on board of directors. I've been bonded. I have been other outside authorities have given me social proof that people can trust me. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do something. If I say I'm going to show up, I'm going to show up usually 15 minutes early. Because if I'm 15 minutes early, then if there's traffic delays, if there's a car accident, I'll still be on time. And I'll get, worst case scenario, I'll get an extra 10 minutes to review what I'm going to discuss that day, what I'm going to speak on that day. If there are any urgent emails or texts that I need to answer before the thing. So that's how I build and have built trust over the last 50 years of my life. Kind of cool. It started, I had a paper route when I was 8 years old. If you've heard this story before, you know, I totally understand. But for those who haven't heard the story before, my mom got me a paper route by signing herself up to be a paper woman back when I was a kid. And I was delivering newspapers from the time I was 8 years old. I had 2 paper routes from the time I was 10. I had my own t-shirt company with a partner when I was 16. There was always the opportunity to work, and that opportunity to work every day served me well when I didn't want to go to work, because we don't always have the opportunity to just work when we're at our best selves. If we are honest with ourselves, there are only so many hours a day that we can peak perform, that we can be in the zone, that we can really get our A+ level work done. But the thing is, and this is the important thing for everyone to remember, this is part of the law of showing up. Your B work, your A- work is probably better than every single person who, didn't show up or didn't give it a good effort today. So don't beat yourself up when you're not doing A+ work, because we only have a finite amount of time each day that we can do A+ work. If you do a bunch of A work and B work in the meantime and put it aside, we can develop something called a minimal viable product, MVP. And the cool thing about developing an MVP is that our high-level products can be developed from those MVPs down the line. We can do all the bells and whistles that we want to do right now, but are keeping us from getting to market. And when I say getting to market, I'm talking about producing a product or a service. If I do not open my door, if I do not show up to work to take on a new coaching client who's supposed to come in today, then I am not giving them the opportunity to find out what it is about my practice that can serve them, and for me to find out what it is about them so that I can serve them best where they're at right now, not just where they want to be after they develop that fantastic top of the line, completely amazing product that is going to blow everyone's mind down the line. Because how many of us can turn around and say, hey, if we put this out today and get some feedback on it, we can improve on it. We can actually give people more of what they want based on the feedback to the product that is already helping them. Very cool stuff. So I'm going to take an opportunity. I talk about John Maxwell every so often because he's just really an awesome communicator, great speaker. Again, he has developed his integrity over time. He has earned my trust, your trust, millions of people around the world in many different countries, their trust. So I have something called the Growth Mindset Guru podcast. You can look for it on all the regular places. I'm inviting you all to listen to it because this season, from probably November through January, I'm breaking down John Maxwell's 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. So that's my ask of you. Follow my podcast. See if I can give you some free value that way as well. Let's talk about the Bank of Goodwill. I've taught on this concept. I came up with it many years ago. I believe that we develop currency in the Bank of Goodwill by doing good things, by showing up, by helping others, by thinking of others first. So think about it like a bank balance. Say you put $20 into the bank every week, and you get a flat tire and you need a new tire and the new tire costs $250. You can take your debit card out of your wallet, spend $250 on a tire, and you still have money in the bank. Same concept for goodwill. If we keep putting good things, if we keep doing good things, if we keep helping people, if we keep building up our integrity, if we make a mistake, we have currency in the bank of goodwill. And we can ask people who we have wronged for forgiveness because we have been good for so long. I talk to couples in my wedding practice all the time, and some of them have trust issues because a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a former partner did something stupid, sometimes repetitively, and they're bringing some of that crap from the old partner into the new relationship. And I have to remind them that we are all separate individuals. And what has your partner done to demonstrate that they are good, solid people? As opposed to assuming that all women or all men or all people are the same way that your last partner was, or your daddy was, or your mother was. We need to let go of those things sometimes and look for what's real and here and now. And that's my little talk on having currency in the bank of goodwill. I encourage all people getting married to build up their currency in the bank of goodwill for the inevitable day that they do something silly. And it's not necessarily something major, just not consulting with your partner on a decision. That can be an assumed good or a bad thing in a relationship. And what I encourage couples to do is to set monetary or emotional limits on those. For example, if I want to buy something in a store that's under $100 or my partner, we can just do that, no problem. If it's between $100 and $200, our rule is that we will text each other, hey, I saw this, I want it, I'm buying. I want to buy it. And the other partner says yes. It's just, but that's respect in the relationship. If we don't do that, and at the end of the month, the credit card bill comes in, and hey, what's this $200 charge? Oh, I bought a pair of shoes. Well, I don't remember having the conversation that, you were looking at a $200 pair of shoes. Because if you think about it, a $200 pair of shoes, if it makes you feel like $1 million or makes you look like $1 million when you walk into a high-class business or situation, that might be really good value for you. But without the context, a $200 pair of shoes seems a little extravagant. So anything over $200, we both wait a day to decide whether we really want it. Because sometimes we don't want that thing the next day. We've been in a sales situation where someone has convinced us that it's the best cheese slicer in the world or the best blender in the world, and we all have those appliances sitting on or under our countertops where we don't know why we bought it or why we spent that money. So you can do that with decisions. You can do that with buying things. You can always have different containers as long as you discuss them as a couple if you have a current relationship where you want to have that trust in each other. Same thing in business. If I see that we are going to go out of business, if something doesn't change, I really need to present to my senior executives why this is a difficult situation and where I think we can go with possible solutions. And they can take that to their subordinates and say, hey, we're having some business challenges right now. Ron thinks we can do A, B, or C. He'd like some feedback. And this can all be done very quickly. But if I tell you, hey, we're going to start walking from right to left today instead of left to right today, and just this is the way it's going to be, this is how we're going to do it, case closed, I'm going to lose your respect. And the last thing that I want to do is lose the respect of anybody I work with or I lead. So if you're in one of those situations, always be cognizant that even if you think you know the best decision, disseminating it among senior staff, having them ask other people in the organization and let people know that a decision is coming up, it becomes much easier. Whenever I have to sit down with someone who's having challenges at work, the first thing I like to say is, are you ready for a hard truth? And they always say yes. But by asking them first, they're giving me permission to have that difficult conversation. If I did not ask that first, I come across as being arrogant by saying, hey, why are you doing this? Instead of, I've seen you do this several times. Again, after the question, can I have a hard truth with you? I've seen you do this several times, and it doesn't seem to be affecting your subordinates properly. So I'd like to have a discussion on what we can do to figure out why you do this, what the triggers are that get you to this point, and whether we can change what you do once you see that trigger coming. So this is all the law of trust. And I hope everyone gets something out of this. I invited everyone to follow my podcast, Growth Mindset Guru. I hope you do that. There's always a lot of great content there. Always looking for interaction from everybody who follows me. Thank you very much. For those who are practicing, happy Hanukkah, happy Eid, and happy holidays to everybody else.